Hello and welcome to your weekly zap of all the latest electric car news from the team at electrifying.com. This week we'll be talking about the future of Peugeot, the big grant punch-up, forgotten electric Citroëns, big electric MGs and Fords that you can't buy. We'll also be answering your electric car questions and dipping into the postbag to find out your views on last week's episode. Welcome to the Kilowatt Half Hour. I'm Tom.
And I'm Vicky.
What have you been up to? You've been more than me, I think. I've been almost snowed in.
What have I been up to? Wow. I can think of so many countries that would be very unimpressed at you saying that with the light dusting that we've had. I have been quite busy. So I went out last week to see the Peugeot Polygon concept, which I have to say, initially I was like, oh, yeah, I mean, it looks cool, but, it's another concept, isn't it? But actually, I'm quite impressed with it. And there's quite a lot of stuff in there. So this is basically the next Peugeot 208. And it's also giving us a lot of design cues on what we're going to see in future Peugeots. How about this? There are no touchscreens in it. So Peugeot reckons that it's, it would actually like to minimize, I should say, the touchscreens that it uses. Unfortunately, at the moment, legislation means that you do have to have a touchscreen. I don't know whether I mean, unfortunately, I'm not against touchscreens, but I do think that we can go too far. But at the moment, you have to have a touchscreen. But the Polygon concept is very clever because it has no touchscreen. Peugeot reckons that with AI and voice control and that kind of thing getting better, it might even be able to do no touchscreens with good enough voice command and that kind of thing, and steering wheel controls, because the Polygon's got this really cool, it's a big screen, but it's not a touch screen, it's like a head-up display, so it reflects into the windscreen, but it's a huge kind of control it by the steering wheel. And I thought that was quite an interesting idea. So as Peugeot says, the windscreen is all the screen that you need. So that's the marketing blurb. But I actually thought it was quite clever. And also they've got a little square steering wheel called the Hyper Square, which we're going to be seeing in the next couple of years. So that's going to be available probably as an option, which you can read more about that on electrifying.com. It's one of those funny things that you think, oh, well, that's nonsense, isn't it? Little kind of yoke steering wheel, but it's steering by wire. So it's fully electric. There's no mechanical connection. Even the backup is fully electric, which, Peugeot tells us it's been through all the crash tests. All the legislation stuff has been ticked. It's a fully kind of safe system. So it's just as safe as a mechanical connection. I had to go in a prototype as well, so you can read about that. It was quite interesting because it's like a Formula One steering wheel. So little tiny inputs, and obviously the car turns a lot. So there's only one turn lock to lock on the steering. Anyway, there you go. So it's not just something that looks cool. There's quite a lot of interesting ideas in it that I think we will actually see kind of impacting production cars in the near future. So yeah, it's a good one.
We were talking about screens last week because did you sit in that smart Brabus that we had at the barn?
I didn't, unfortunately. No, I have sat in a. Did I sit? Yes, I did sit in a Smart 5 a while ago, but not that one.
Because it had more screens than kind of the local Cineworld. It's ridiculous. And we were talking about when's it go too far, because I think the new Merc EQB, is it? You see the pictures of that and it's like, oh, come on. They're just all the way across the dashboard. And manufacturers like Audi are perhaps going with that Concept C, too far, and we'll just wind it back. So it's interesting Peugeot are sort of doing the same. But you talk about voice activation and things, and I was thinking about that just today because I had to do some sums for a review of, converting kilometres to miles and all that sort of thing. And I was asking Siri on my phone, and I'll just say, how many miles is 600 kilometres, for example. And I thought, this is the first time I've done this, rather than just go to a calculator and do it on my phone, pressing buttons and things. But I was thinking I probably wouldn't do that if somebody else was in the house, because they'd go, what? And it's a bit like if you're in the car, I don't tend to use the voice activation for stuff in the same way that I would if I was on my own.
Yeah.
Do you know? I don't know if you're the same.
I do. Is this a sort of self-conscious thing? Because I'm the same. Like, when you call the bank, which is always a painful thing, or Sky or whatever, or any big company, and they want you to talk to it rather than just dial it, like the old-fashioned way we used to press a button to say yes or no or whatever. I hate it. I absolutely, because you're there like an absolute wally on the phone, just going yes. Yes, that's what, and it's you just sound like an absolute wally, and it's just kind of.
You hear people on the train doing it, don't you? You hear people on the train going, yes, no.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But I suppose it's slightly different to voice control. But I'm the same. I would far rather, like, even in the cars that obviously you can say, hey, whatever. I always just press the button on the steering wheel instead because I feel self-conscious about just shouting at the car, even when I'm on my own. I actually don't like doing it, but this may be a generational thing because I don't know what your sons are like, Tom, but my 9-year-old daughter, she speaks everything into, like, she wants to look for something. Her initial thing is she'll tell the phone to do it or the computer, anything. It's kind of the voice command is her first port of call before she does anything else, like types it in. So maybe it's a generational thing. I don't know.
Well, my sons who are officially adults, if we're in the car and there's like a message that comes up and then you can reply to it, to the missus or something, and I'll say, oh, no, I'll be home in 10 minutes, and they will shout out some rude word to add on to the end of the message. So that it sends it. I won't say what it is, but you can imagine the type of thing. Yes, I'll be home in 10 minutes.
Beep. Oh, that's very good.
So
well,
it's not infallible, is it really?
It's pros and cons, isn't it? I think it's getting better, I have to say. In fact, talking about voice control, I was in the MG S6 also this week, so that's the other thing I've been driving. You can also check out the video of that because Nikki has been out driving that. So yeah, go and look at the video because it's quite an it's one of those. It's quite an unassuming car. It's exactly what you expect it to be, but I suspect it's going to be quite popular because, I mean, it's just a bigger electric MG, isn't it? So you've got range of, around about 301 to just under 330 miles, depending on which powertrain you go for. Oh, it's fine. It's just fine. It's quite big. It's comfy. I think MG's done well with its interior quality as well. So inevitably the S6 is very similar to the MG S5, isn't it? Do we think that Audi's got any thoughts on the fact that MG is calling its cars S5 and S6? Or is this because they've called it the MG S5 and MG S6? I suppose they've avoided that particular pitfall. But,
yes, I suppose they have. There was an S4 once that had to be changed. You know how Alfa Romeo had to change the name of the Junior because it was...
Yes,
was it going to be...
it was the Milano, wasn't it? And then they had to change it to the Junior because it's not made in Italy.
Yeah. Well, do you remember the Volvo S40, which was a thing in the late 90s? That went out as the S4 originally, and you got the press picture of the S4, and then Audi solicitors had a knock on the door in Sweden and said, "I think not." So okay, we'll make it the S40 then. So.
Oh no, I fear that without our esteemed leader, we're wandering dangerously into kind of old car territory here.
Oh no,
you and I really like our old cars. We're like, no. Anyway, the MG S6, it's very fine. It's a very fine car and it's decent value. But I was driving it and thinking mostly about the Citroën EC5 because, and I think we're going to talk a bit more about this in a second, right? So the Grant, this EC5, the long range one, as we've mentioned, that gets the full Grant. It's unbelievable value for that kind of range. It's a really nice car as well, the EC5. I drove that out in Denmark for a car of the year thing and really like it. So so that's actually quite a bit cheaper than the MG and goes quite a lot further. So I think MG might find that it's not quite the kind of default good value EV that MG kind of was a few years ago, really. There's a lot more competition now.
Well, if you remember the MG4 coming out and it was... 27 grand, which is the same price as a Focus, and everyone went, "Oh, this is amazing value." These are good value, but they don't have that same wow, do they? About them?
No, and I think I don't know whether that's partly because MG's sort of gone up in desirability, and also because it's got more rivals, haven't it? So I mean, we've not even obviously, you get a Leapmotor C10, which is even bigger than a MG S6 for the same money, lots of kit, that kind of thing. So all the, Ginny drove that Geely, didn't she? The EX5 recently. So that looks like good value, all of that. So there's all kinds of new brands. It has to be said, lots of Chinese brands coming in, really good value. So I think MG is going to find the market tougher in the future, but it's well established. People like the brand and the cars are good. So
how are the safety systems? I asked because MG, well, all the Chinese brands really, the safety systems have been a bit enough to put people off. And MG says, "Oh no, we worked on it," and they're now much better, and they've done a lot of testing in the UK. So were they better? Was it good?
Yeah, I didn't find them too bad. I was driving, it was really cold and quite sort of damp, so it was a bit slippery, and I did have the traction control kind of cut in a little bit occasionally. But it wasn't too bad at all. I think there's plenty of legacy manufacturers where you'd have the same thing. So I don't think MG could really be accused of that as much as, say, I mean, certainly speaking of Leapmotor, their assistance systems in any car I've tried so far have been absolutely like really impossible to live with. I would find them really difficult. So I think there are definitely manufacturers that are worse, and I suspect MG has tried quite hard. I know that BYD's put a lot of effort into trying to make its assistance systems a bit more kind of European to European tastes as well. So because it's a thing, isn't it? In China, they quite like them being quite intrusive or rather quite overbearing. So they like to have the safety assistance systems there. It's a bit of a cultural thing. So I think it's a something that they're all working on. But I didn't find it a problem in the MGS6. I thought they were all right, to be honest.
Well, it's maybe the work they've done has worked.
What have you been up to anyway, Tom?
Well, I mentioned last week briefly that I'd just had a Citroën EC4 delivered, which is a car that we'd forgotten about. But I looked at it and thought, that looks like the new Nissan Leaf for a start. And I drove it and thought, this is really quite nice. And strange enough, I took my dad out, who's 88, and he looked around and we went down the road and he said, this is the nicest of the sensible cars you've brought over that I've ever been in. It's the most comfortable. Really? And I said, interesting, because I was kind of thinking the same. And, I do, he's been in Bentleys and things that I've taken over, but it's, he just went, I could live with one of these. He's not going to because he's got lots of other silly cars. But he just thought it was lovely. And I was thinking, this is quite nice. And I don't know why we've forgotten it.
No,
reasonable
I agree.
range.
I really like the
EC4.
EC4. Yeah, exactly. It's one of those cars, isn't it? That I think it's just been forgotten because it was actually one of the earlier of the Stellantis group kind of hatchbacks to arrive, wasn't it? And they facelifted it and made it. I did a long drive in an EC4, the saloon version actually, a few years back, and I got over 5 miles per kilowatt hour out of it, and it was fairly warm, but I was on the motorways mostly, and I was really I was pushing for efficiency, so I was making some compromises. But I was still doing 65-ish and just kind of, pottering along. And it was really good. The efficiency on it was remarkable. I wouldn't say you'd get that on an everyday basis, but if you try, you can actually squeeze quite good efficiency out of them. I think it looks quite smart, the EC4. It's one of those.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the Mustang Mach-E the other day, which I actually still quite like. And everybody's forgotten about
forgotten
that
car.
too.
Yeah.
Another forgotten. Another forgotten. I know comfort isn't the Mustang's kind of sort of thing, but I do like it a lot. It's a good car.
What else have we forgotten about? What electric cars have we forgotten about? Let us know in the comments if you think we've forgotten about an electric car. It does happen.
Yes. Should we do some news? Have you got some news for us?
Well, yeah. Talking of Leafs, as we were briefly then. So finally, it's been officially approved for the level 1 grant in the UK. So £3,750 off, as we all knew was going to happen, but we hadn't had confirmed prices. I think they just said below 33,000, didn't they, for the Leaf? And it's actually, including the grant, it's 32,249, which is all right.
That's good. Yeah.
That's
for
pretty
the
good,
shorter range one, though, I assume, is it? So then is it the?
Well, it's got 300 and something miles in it, isn't it? That range. So
that's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, but I thought, well, that seems reasonable because in my head, I'm still thinking about when Corsas were 38 grand, electric Corsas, but that EC5 Aircross that we were talking about, which looks great value next to the MG. Long range, after you've deducted the grant from that, it's 32,935. So there's 600 and something quid in it. And the Citroën has a 420 mile range.
Yeah, that Citroën is pretty amazing.
I don't know. I haven't looked at the spec of it. I think it's the U ! Is the trim level of the Citroën that's that price. And perhaps it's got wind-up windows and no back seats or something, but it can't be that bad, and that seems like really good value. I should think people at Nissan are going,
yes, oops. I agree. Actually, I think that EC5 Aircross is probably the best value. I mean, it's got to be the cheapest plus 400 mile range EV out there, hasn't it, by some margin? So I think Citroën's done well with that. And like I said, I did drive it, and yes, I suppose it was a high spec one, but the U trim, I've driven U trim versions of some of the other Citroëns, and they're fine. They're just straightforward cars, and I don't mind that. So I think it's really good. So yeah, I think that's a great deal. But
And
yeah,
I
as you say,
think
maybe
also,
Nissan might be a bit disappointed.
yeah, I think also once you've got a 400-mile plus range, people who haven't looked at electric cars before go, hang on a minute, because at the moment, you've got those
Yeah,
people who say, oh no, I go down and see my gran twice a year, and she's 300 miles away. You say, well, you can do it now in a car that
yeah,
costs, just over 30 grand. So it kind of shoots their argument down, hopefully.
yeah. I reckon that Citroen's going to be a big hit with company car users and retail buyers alike. I think.
Hmm.
I hope the Nissan
Hmm.
does well because I've said this before and I'll say it again. I really like the new Leaf. I think they've done a really
Mm.
good job on it. So it's quite characterful in a peculiar way, actually, the Leaf. So I'm
Mm.
quite keen to have a go in the UK and see how it does. But yeah, that Citroen is quite hard to beat, isn't it?
Mm.
Talking about big cars, we're talking
Mm.
about the another big MG. So we talked about the S6 earlier, which is the pure electric car. Well, talking about news, MG has had it's actually another of its cars revealed by Euro NCAP. So they've revealed the crash test ratings before the company has actually revealed the car. But this is the MG S9, which is, drumroll please, a 7-seat MG finally, which is good.
Mm.
But it is only a plug-in hybrid. It's not, to our
Mm.
knowledge, going to be available as a pure electric car, and we don't know for sure. We haven't got any official line on that, but it is. I suspect it's just going to be kind of a sort of quite long-range plug-in hybrid. So that's going to rival
So,
stuff like the Peugeot 5008, Kia Sorento, that kind of thing. I hope they bring an electric one because I do think. I mean, the electric
mm.
5008's a fantastic 7-seater, and I
Mm.
don't know why nobody else is doing it. I know Mercedes has got the EQB, but that's much
Yeah.
smaller. And other than that, what is still really limited, the 7-seaters you can get, isn't it? It's Hyundai and Kia, and they're much more expensive.
Yeah. So do you think this replaces the MGHS, or does the HS get replaced by the S6, do you
No,
think?
I think this would go above the HS because the HS is
I
only a 5-seater, isn't it? So I reckon this
mm.
is a bigger car, 7-seater. And yeah, and I mean the HS was in the top 10 best-selling cars, wasn't it, for quite a few months this
Mm.
year?
Mm.
So I think that could be
Mm.
quite a popular one. So yeah,
Mm.
there you
Mm.
go. So yeah, Euro NCAP has once again revealed another MG, so that's all good.
It is bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah,
Somebody would have a conversation, or perhaps it's some sneaky PR plan from them that this is how they're going to do it and
maybe.
get the headlines.
Maybe.
Yeah, they think that if they
Yeah.
send us a press release, we just go, yeah, whatever. Whereas if they think it's a mistake, we go, ha ha.
Well, it was quite funny because I was on the MG launch, I was on the S6 launch, and I asked them, I was like, when are we going to get a 7-seater? And they were like, oh, you might want to look at Euro NCAP. I was like, eh, what? So there you go.
Yeah, MG does have a slightly strange operation, doesn't it? In that other manufacturers, we were talking about it this morning in the meeting, that other manufacturers will say, oh, look, here's a teaser shot of a concept car. Here's a concept car. Here, you can come and look around the concept car. You can drive the concept car a few feet. Then the production car comes out and goes
Yeah.
through the whole thing again for months and months and months. And MG, you get an invite in saying, yeah, come and drive the new car in the Cotswolds next week. And you go,
Yeah.
well, we haven't even
Next
seen
week,
it
yeah.
yet.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, it's an amazing thing, isn't it?
It's
Oh
bizarre.
man. Yeah.
Anyway, talking of successful electric cars, the Ford Puma Gen-E, which is of course another car which gets the full £3,750 grant, and was another surprise for us that it was going to be in there, has sold out. You can't get one till May, which isn't terribly surprising because there were some amazing lease deals on that when it was announced that it was going to
Yeah.
get the grant. And they put it onto Motability, so at very preferential rates. So it was kind of the same price on Motability as something like a Dacia Spring. So unsurprisingly, they've all gone, although you would expect them to perhaps manage the demand a little better. But that's great news. And it
Yeah.
also, I think, means that there's a new tranche of small electric SUVs from the likes of Volkswagen and Cupra and Skoda that are coming, and hopefully they'll do well too. And shows that if you get the
Yeah.
pricing right on these things, they're going to sell electric
Yeah.
cars.
Well, I mean, can I just say, I think probably for all of us, but about time too, with Volkswagen and
Mm,
Cupra and all the rest of it, it feels
mm,
like they're a generation behind a lot of other brands with their small cars now. And talking about
mm,
long lead launches with cars, um, we've known about the ID2 now for how long? Like 4 years
mm,
or something?
mm,
Feels like we've known about it forever. It's like, oh, come on, just launch it. Anyway,
mm.
fingers crossed, it will be good. So, you know.
Mm.
Another car that we didn't really know much about until actually Ginny is out in LA as we speak, I think, flying back, and she's been out. She's sort of found out about the Jeep Recon. The new Jeep Recon has been announced in America now. I will add, this, I don't think it's coming to the UK. It certainly hasn't been confirmed for it, and I would be very surprised if Jeep brought it. But this is Jeep's first electric car which has been properly trail rated. So, you know, they do their sort of proper hardcore off-roading test that only Jeep does. And they've done that in the electric Recon. And I have to say, another slightly niche claim. Apparently, this is the first electric 4x4 that has removable doors. So I don't know how important that is to you, but maybe.
I think you can remove any door from an electric car if you've got a socket set. But
precisely that. If you've got that, yeah, exactly. So 650 horsepower this thing has got, and it will do 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds, which is so irrelevant to an off-roader. It's unbelievable. But, you know, I'm sure, I mean, obviously 841 Newton meters of torque will be useful on the mountains and on when you're rock crawling and stuff. It's a funny one, isn't it? So 250-mile range. It's not going to be cheap. I suppose it's quite cool, isn't it, in its own way, that they've got this kind of really heavy-duty, hardcore off-roader. I don't know. I have to see how it does in America. I can't see it coming to the UK, but it's a cool-looking thing. You should check out the news story on the website because it is quite cool.
How do you feel about the name? Because Recon, whenever I think of it, means like a reconditioned engine, or if you're buying a used iPhone, it's like, oh, it's a Recon.
See,
iPhone.
I think maybe I have read too many kind of military history books in my time, but to my mind, it does actually mean reconnaissance. So it's.
You've never had to buy anything secondhand, have you? We know. No. Yeah. You wouldn't know about such things.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. The Rubicon Trail. That's the name. I knew I'd forgotten what it was called. There you go. It's the Rubicon Trail, isn't it, that they do? And they test all of their 4x4s on that. So this has been all trail rated up there. And I don't know how I don't mind the name Recon. It feels very Jeep to me. But as you say, if to you it means a reconditioned engine, then maybe it's not so ideal. I suspect that not everybody's mind immediately goes to kind of scrap merchants and what random old bargains they've got in their garage that need a new gearbox at this particular time or something.
Well, but sort of going back to the old cars again. Going back to old cars again, it used to be the reconditioned engines. They used to get gold seal engines, and they used to just be painted completely gold before they went into. So that's how you'd open up the bonnet and say, "Oh, it's had a new engine."
Oh, very good. Old. You don't get that with electric cars, do you? See.
Well, talking bargains, shall I do my bargains of the week?
I think you should, definitely.
Yeah. Well, to buy used, I saw a BYD Dolphin, another car that's kind of fallen off the radar just because it's. It's a couple of years old, so therefore with no reason. If it's not class leading, we don't tend to put it against anything else, do we? But 18,999 with 12,000 miles and a year old. Now I think they were kind of 30 new, so that's a good old chunk off, isn't it?
Now these are bigger than you think they are, aren't they? This is one of BYD's things. It tends to make its cars slightly bigger than you kind of think. So the Dolphin. This isn't the Dolphin Surf, which is a different model. The Dolphin is actually bigger than an e-208, isn't it? It's almost the size of an e-308. It's quite a sort of it's kind of in between the two. So, I mean, it's quite a spacious car for the money, but I have to say there's a lot of other things I would have over it. Personally.
Yeah, I think that there were some good lease deals. The lease deals now aren't quite so keen on BYD, so it's like, why would you? It reminded me of the Generation 1 Vauxhall Mariva, the way it looks and kind of inside with its practicality and stuff. So I think it's a perfectly nice car, but as you say, there are cheaper things. But used, 19 grand, not bad. It starts to look a bit more attractive, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think the other thing is BYD might have scuppered the Dolphin itself with the Dolphin Surf because it's a much cheaper car. I know the range isn't quite as good, but it's kind of cooler, isn't it? Because the Dolphin Surf looks like a kind of tiny Lamborghini, so it's kind of got a bit more to it, I think. But so I reckon there's quite a lot of people just going for the Dolphin Surf, which is also these days, I think that's already under 200 quid a month easily on leasing, isn't it? I think the smaller one. So I wonder if Dolphin sales aren't also being sabotaged by the Dolphin Surf at the moment. But nonetheless, good price for a nearly new car, isn't it? So
Are you due an eye test at all? Looks like a small Lamborghini.
It does. It does. If you made, I no, I stand by this statement. And they even do it in like the, they do it in like the fluorescent yellow. Honestly, look at it and think about what, say, a Lamborghini Murcielago would look like if you kind of reshaped it or like squeezed it and made it into a tiny hatchback. I'm telling you, it's a tiny electric Lamborghini. And just to prevent any lawsuits at this point, I will add that Lamborghini has absolutely nothing to do with the BYD Dolphin Surf. These are all my own opinions. But anyway,
right.
the Dolphin, yeah, it's an all right car, isn't it? And it's quite spacious, and it'll be a good run around for that price. So not bad.
Yeah.
What else have we got then?
Leasing deals, there's still, I've mentioned this 3 weeks in a row just because it's so good. Although it has gone a little more expensive. It's like £4 more expensive a month this week than it was last week. So the MG S5, they're really cheap. So grab one of those while you still can. But also another forgotten electric car, the Ioniq 5, Hyundai Ioniq 5.
I haven't forgotten it. I still love the Ioniq 5.
Yeah, it is a nice looking car, isn't it? And big. What did Mike actually went out and bought one with his own money? And I can't remember what he didn't like about it. I think the 12-volt battery kept going, didn't it?
Yeah, they had an issue with that, didn't they? And I think the real world range wasn't quite what he'd hoped as well. I think the efficiency was not as good as he'd hoped. But still a brilliant car. I would buy an Ioniq 5. I would put my own money into it and run it. If I were going out tomorrow to buy an electric family car, that would be still on my shortlist. I really like it. It just looks fantastic, and it's big and nice, and I just really like it.
Well, you can have one for £363 a month on a 4-year deal as well, which is pretty good.
I know, but without wishing to be predictable here, how much is a Volkswagen ID7? Because I'd probably have that over a Hyundai Ioniq 5.
That's
because I'm weirdly obsessed with
it. The swear jar should be for ID7.
Yeah. Ginny's got to put some money in when she mentions an Enyaq, and I need to do it when I mention an ID7. I know.
Yeah, I know. There has been some swear jar suggestions actually from the listeners. Like David Clabon 1138 says the swear jar suggestion should be us mentioning gloss black fingerprints. On the.
Smudgy finger marks on the gloss black plastics. Yeah, absolutely. It's a very motoring journalist sort of car reviewer type thing to say, isn't it? I know. It
is. Yeah,
yes, yeah. I agree. That probably is a good one for the swear jar.
Yeah. Other comments and suggestions. Last week I was talking about MG and how it had got to 100,000 electric car sales in the UK. And it was one of only 5 car makers to do it. And we couldn't work out what the final of the 4 was, and I now know because I asked a chap from MG. Thank you, David. But he did tease me with it and kept on saying, "No, I had to guess." You see, so lots of the listeners guessed the same as I did, which was that it was Nissan, and it's not. Nissan is nowhere near, and it's not the Koreans. They're nowhere near either. So the final one. So the full lowdown is. Do you want to run through them?
So look, I'm guessing. So hang on. So I don't know about this. So this is. So the manufacturers that have sold 100,000 electric cars in the UK overall over the whole life, since they've been selling EVs in the UK, right? So obviously Tesla.
Yep.
MG.
Yep.
Probably Volkswagen.
Volkswagen is the one that we didn't have last week. Yes. Yeah.
There you go. Volkswagen and I don't know. I would. I know. Has Audi? No, probably not Audi. Same country. It's going to be. It's BMW, isn't it? It's got to be BMW.
BMW. Yeah.
I wonder what its big is the i3 still? It's the original i3. I mean, obviously, still its biggest.
Well, you think that? I suppose they had.
A
long time of selling
i3s,
and then they've got all the new ones as well, haven't they?
Yeah. God, I still love the i3. It's such a great thing, isn't it?
And the i4, another forgotten electric car. The i4, great thing, isn't it?
The i4, which is a fantastic car. Have you seen how expensive it is compared to a Tesla, though? It's outrageously expensive. I think I looked not long ago, and it was about 60 grand and up. I was like, it's crazy.
Yeah, but you can have one in green. And it's a lovely colour.
And they're really nice to drive, and I really like them. But it's a lot to ask, isn't it? So yeah, it's a shame though, because I'd like to see more. You do see i4s around. I reckon they're good. I reckon company cars, they do quite a good turnover on company cars because they're lovely things. Really nice.
Anyway, you haven't got the fifth one.
Oh.
Also German.
Hang on. Volkswagen, BMW, Tesla and MG. There's a fifth one. Oh no. A fifth one. Skoda? No, well, that's not German, is it, technically?
Shall I give you a ring and tell you? Shall I give you a ring?
Oh,
or maybe 4 rings? Correct.
Is it Audi? Really?
Yeah,
Oh, I guess I nearly guessed Audi earlier. I was sort of, because I know the Q4's done really well, isn't it? It's, yeah, it's, so there you go. Oh, fair enough. Well, yeah, it's not necessarily the brands you would have thought, is it? As you say, I think I probably would have taken a stab at Nissan given the success of the Leaf, and also Renault.
But they had but I think they had a long time of not really doing anything, didn't they? So
yeah, quite sadly.
Yeah.
Right.
So
comments and
other
questions.
Yeah. So Mika Davis 660 agrees with me about the EC4. I used to own a Citroën EC4 and really loved it. The only negative was the Citroën app. It was basically utterly useless. But as a car for driving and not being an app, we drove it and loved it.
Yeah, I can believe that. Right. Martin Gill 6996. Yes, exactly. Can you explain why the new Jeep Avenger 4 XE, actually four-wheel drive, is a hybrid? Is it because of range worries? That is a good question. I think it's probably, I think it's probably partly to do with efficiency. And I think it might also be to do with customer demand. I'm not sure. I think probably the Avenger is because they can have four-wheel drive on that platform, can't they? I'm sure they can. Well, so it's the second gen ECMP platform, isn't it? So
yeah, I assume that it's just easier for them to put a small electric motor on the back wheels and to have the petrol motor running the fronts. Yeah. What was the first car to have?
I think it's probably customer demand. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the first car to have petrol motor on the front and electric motor on the back without connection between them? Come on, Vicky. Come on.
Oh, well, would it be the i3 range extender? No. Long time before that, I take it. Oh, it's not the Volt, is it? The Ampere, Vauxhall Ampere and Chevy Volt. No, because they did have their petrol engines. See, this is more like a pub quiz than a podcast now, Tom. What are we doing? What's going on?
And also, I've lapsed into crap old cars again because it was Nissan Micra.
Exactly. I'm trying very hard to keep you on course here with all the EV chats. Go on. What is it? What rubbish old car is it?
It was the K11 Nissan Micra and the Nissan Note, but only in Japan. It was only sold in Japan, but it was really clever. It had an electric motor on the back wheels, made it four-wheel drive, so you didn't need all the prop shafts and everything else that four-wheel drive cars did.
Tom, this is fascinating. If you're a horrible, horrible car geek like you and I, but I have to say, I think we might have strayed well off course here. But I'm impressed at the car knowledge. Yeah. I am impressed. Right,
Sean Powell.
Then?
Sean Powell, the Mokka GSe. Oh yes, we were we were talking about the Mokka GSe, but we should definitely be offering more for the price point, considering you get so much more powerful MG4 XPower for essentially the same price. Now, MG4 XPower, discuss.
I mean, why would you? I just don't really. It's not actually any more fun to drive than the standard MG4, which is, I would add, actually quite fun to drive. So I don't think, if anything, I sort of think they should probably do a four-wheel drive MG4 that's not as powerful, that's just more for kind of like all-weather peace of mind and just general kind of usability rather than for performance, because I think people would really like that, especially in the UK and Europe. But I just think the XPower is a bit. And I'm not averse to performance EVs. I love it, but I just find the XPower not fun enough to justify the performance or the price over the other models. Really,
I did think it felt a bit like you try a car, like an old-fashioned petrol car that's somebody's got it's a turbo, and I've upped the boost and it's now 500 horsepower, and it was originally like 180, and it just feels a bit. So it wasn't meant to happen. It feels like that a bit with the XPower, and it always had a slight vibration at 70 miles an hour, which was really annoying. And they all do that, sir. It is just a trait of the car that's something to do with the balancing of the drive shafts or something on the front wheels. But you're going at 70, and you think, have I got a flat tire? Have I got a stone in the tire or something? And then you go on a forum and find out they all do that, sir. Yeah.
This is it's crazy, isn't it? But it's really common with car manufacturers at the moment, because there's such a trend for producing cars that do 0 to 62 in sub 4 seconds or something insane, without really kind of making the car a particularly good driver's car. And I think we really need to, I think we've said it so many times, but I will. This is the hill I will die on. It's so unnecessary, and it doesn't actually make the car any better. So yeah, I was doing updating the review on the Zeekr 7X because I drove that not long ago for a European Car of the Year thing as well, and I drove the top range version of that. So this is another Chinese brand that's coming to the UK. 2027 is the intention. The 7X is the Model Y rival, and the top spec all-wheel drive one. It's the only model you can get all-wheel drive on, and that will do 0 to 62 in 3.5 seconds, basically. But it's really soft, so it feels so you accelerate hard, and you're kind of pointing at the sky because the whole car, you get all this kind of it's quite wallowy and cushy, and I like that in a car. I don't need it to do 0 to 62 in 3.5 seconds. So I don't know whether we need to blame Tesla for this as well as lots of other things for this sort of trend of making EVs very powerful. And I know that you can do it without affecting efficiency too much because electric motors kind of work like that. So you can sort of dial them up without it eating into efficiency too much. But I still think that perhaps some manufacturers need to be reminded that all-wheel drive can be good without the performance. You don't need loads of power.
You need, if you've got that much performance, you need bigger tyres, and bigger tyres are less efficient, and also you need bigger brakes, and etc., 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 which just add to the weight and reduce efficiency. So
I love a fast EV, but I mean, give me an Ioniq 5N or something that's designed to be a performance EV rather than something that's a family SUV that just is unnecessarily fast, really. But anyway, it's a bit of a trend, isn't it? So that's something else. Anyway, you can tell us in the comments. Are you a fan? Would you buy, the model? You drove the Model Y Performance not long ago, didn't you? It's much the same vein. So there's clearly a demand for it. So maybe you and I are just out of date, Tom. I don't know.
And talking of Teslas.
Yes.
Well, sort of. Bluefish 2303 says Ford's BlueCruise, which we were talking about last week, which is their self-driving tech, which is licensed for the UK now, and is going on to the Puma Gen-E, among other things. And you think, oh well, great, this is going to be mass market. And we were talking about it last week, and he's pointed out that it's a subscription model, so you have to pay $17.99 a month if you want it. Now, in comparison to Tesla, who charge you between $6,000 and $8,000 if you want their full self-driving, and then if you've got that on a three-year lease or PCP deal, then you hand the car back. That sounds like a bargain. But I can still see some people just going, don't need that.
I just think, I don't know, maybe at risk of sounding perhaps. I don't know. Maybe again, maybe it's another generational thing. Maybe kind of. I just don't want I don't want loads of subscriptions. I don't want to buy a subscription for something to go on my car, and so that would kind of annoy me more than just having an upfront question of do you want to pay $6,000 for this or do you not? I'd kind of just rather have that decision. Still, it's optional, isn't it? So you can just say no to the subscription, but. So I suppose by comparison to Tesla, yes, good value, but I still wouldn't do it myself. I just find subscriptions on cars frustrating.
The interesting thing would be if you can take out a subscription, it would only be from month to month. If you were doing something like, well, I'm driving down to south of France on holiday, and French auto routes are made for cruise control. They're almost unbearable without cruise control because it's quiet traffic and they're long and straight. And so it would be great there. And if you could just say, well, I'm going to France on holiday, I'm going to take out a month's subscription to it. That would be interesting, but I'm not sure that would work for Ford.
Now, that is a very good idea. That I could get on board with. I think that's quite an interesting one. I think that's good. And also maybe you could, I was going to say maybe you could have a similar idea in terms of having a kind of, if you were lending your car to your kids or something and you wanted it to have the sort of learner driver mode. There was at Ford did a key, didn't they, where they had that? So if you used a different key, then the car had. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's not a bad idea. If it was a rolling contract, then maybe. But yeah, I just find the whole idea of having to subscribe to a function in your car frustrating, personally.
Well, I do it for charging apps. So some of these ones they will say, right, well, you pay $8.99 a month and you get 30% off. If I'm doing a long journey or a couple of long journeys, I'll think, right, well, how much am I going to charge out in the public? Am I going to save more than $8.99 by having the 30% off? I'll do it for 1 month, but then I am very tight. Tight as two coats of paint, as Mike would say. So that's the
Well,
type of thing I do.
you said it, Tom. I mean, that's but fair enough. I think I admire your the effort you put into that kind of thing, because I wouldn't have the foresight or I wouldn't put the energy in, frankly. But yeah, it's a good idea if you can be bothered. It's a good idea.
Talking of being tight, I did some sums the other day on the Mokka GSe. One of the options is to have Goodyear tyres rather than Michelin tyres.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah,
it's £100 option, and it gives you 8 miles more range. And you think, well, that's fine. You know, if I ran out of charge 8 miles from home, I'd feel quite silly if I'd just had the Michelins. But I thought, well, how long would it take to recoup the cost, the £100, over the course of the car if you were charging at home, like for those extra miles, that extra efficiency? And I did some very rough calculations, so if I'm wrong, then somebody please tell me. But I reckon that if you were charging at like the normal daytime rate, it would take around 40,000 miles before you got your 100 quid back. But if you're charging overnight at cheap rate, it would take 120,000 miles before you got your money back. So obviously, if you're having to public charge, it's going to be less than that. But I thought I'd stick with the Michelins.
Yeah, I think I would as well.
I
really
suspect,
do think I would.
Being a cynic, perhaps they've just done that so they can have in their technical specifications range up to 209 miles, which sounds a lot better than 201.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think it's quite interesting though, isn't it? I can't think of another car where you had optional tyres. There probably have been. I'm sure you know, Tom. I'm sure you've got an encyclopedic kind of catalogue of all the cars that have ever been offered with optional sort of different tyres. But there have been some Porsches, haven't there? I think that had different. Anyway, we're going off on a tangent again. I think we'll draw this to a close with.
Yes, we should. Go on then.
I've got go on. I got one more because I just thought this was great. I saw this. So at Mark Klinger, Klinger 7074. I've just bought a new green Hyundai Inster for £21,779, including delivery. I thought that was a good deal. I think that's a good deal too. I don't know whether that's the shorter range one or not, but I tell you what, take that with your BYD Dolphin Surf. I'd have an Insta over a Dolphin Surf any day. That's a great car. Love the Insta. In green too. I bet that's lovely. So I think that's a good buy. Nice. Definitely.
Talking of goodbyes,
yes.
we should bring this into a close.
On that note, we should. Yes. Well, I think we've done the traditional sort of, what are we at now? Sort of 45-minute half-hour podcast, aren't we? Something like that. It's all good.
Right. Well, see you next time. And let us know if you have any buying questions.
Absolutely. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.